A very good evening, everyone. I, Ritik Relhan from Cosmic Shala, welcome you all to today's webinar on Introduction to Neutrino Astronomy by Mr. Kshitij Pandey. I welcome our esteemed guest, Mr. Kshitij Pandey, Cosmic Shala. Kshitij completed his graduation in physics with his thesis on the WIMP model from a neutrino perspective. He loves science communication and he shares a scientific content online through videos. He has presented his work at the IIT Kharagpur during their conference on neutrinos in 2018. He's also worked on space radiation shielding design, which was published in Stanford Linear Accelerator Center, and he was a silver medalist in the University Physics Competition 2019 organized by Carroll College, Helena. So without taking any more time, I would like to welcome Mr. Kshitij to deliver his talk on Introduction to Neutrino Astronomy.
In a layman language, what actually is astronomy? So if you go to Google and go for some random definitions, you will see that understanding of the things which are beyond the atmosphere of the Earth is known as astronomy. So everything which is above our atmosphere, which is International Space Station, Moon, Sun, Jupiter, galaxy, or any other thing, if we try to understand those things by observing them or by detecting any kind of signal, then it is known as astronomy. And it is for that reason we try to understand solar system, then we try to understand galaxies, nebulas, clusters, dark matter, dark energy, and all those things with the help of astronomy. So it's pretty clear that astronomy is a very innate part of our understanding of the universe. From many studies, it has been clarified that people and organisms rely more on their sense of vision than other sensations. And it's for that reason, vision is a kind of sensation which is considered to be a very important part of human evolution and human growth in technology and science. Our ancestors used to observe the night sky with their naked eyes. And obviously, during that time, there was not such a light pollution. So you can see such a beautiful image of night sky with a clear image of Milky Way band. Today, you will not be able to see the universe the way it is right now. And the reason is very simple, because today we have light pollution. And even in the village areas as well, you cannot see such a clear night sky. There are some few remote places on Earth, like in Australia and few other mountain places, where you can see a beautiful image of night sky, but it has become very rare due to the light pollution. So the second image is the first telescope which was invented by the Galileo Galilei. Now I will not say it was the first telescope, but it was the first telescope which was used for the astronomy. And Galileo Galilei used this telescope to find the satellite of the Jupiter, to find the moon. And Galileo Galilei was responsible for claiming that the model of the universe, the geocentric model of the universe, is false. So Galileo Galilei suggested that universe is not geocentric, but it's centered around the sun, and everything in the universe is revolving around the sun. Now, even though he was correct about the geocentric model, he was wrong about the sun being the center of the universe. Today we know that universe is a vast place, and we cannot define a place which we can call a center. So any position in the universe, any coordinate in the universe, you can call it as the center of the universe. So Galileo Galilei gave this idea, and this was a revolutionary idea. But during that time, this idea was not considered to be a very good from the point of view of church, and it is for that reason he was punished. He was given a house arrest for the rest of his life, and later it is said that he was given a poison so that he had to end his life. So it was not a good end for the Galileo, but he left a very great legacy behind, that we can understand the universe not with our naked eyes, but we can use some kind of instruments to understand the universe. So here is the image of Crab Nebula with a radio wave from VLA. Then we have infrared image from Spitzer. Then we have visible light from Hubble Space Telescope. We have ultraviolet radiation. Then we have low energy X-ray. Then we have high energy X-ray. So you can see that with different kind of spectrum, we can get different kind of information. And it is for that reason, exploiting different kind of spectrum is essential. But now what? Because as of now, we have exploited most of the spectrum of the electromagnetic wave. and we have got a lot of information. We have done a lot of progress and understand the universe in a very good way. So we are currently using photon, and since we want to explore other field as well, so we are cancelling the photon and we are eliminating photon out of this. And now we have got the particle which we can finally use to understand the universe like we do for the photon. So we have got neutrinos, and from here onwards we are moving to the second part of our talk, that is understanding the neutrinos so that we can use it for the neutrino astronomy. I think all of you know that gravitation is a very weak force, and it's for that reason neutrinos, the interaction with the gravitation is almost zero, or we can say negligible, so we don't consider that. Talking about the interaction with the weak nuclear force, they do interact with the weak nuclear force, but weak nuclear force only works in the realm of a nucleus, and we know that in an atom 99.99999% of the space is empty. So it is for that reason for neutrinos almost entire universe is empty. And the idea of the neutrino was given by Wolfgang Pauli. So initially when Wolfgang Pauli gave the idea of neutrino, he thought that maybe it was a mistake. So what are the ways with which we can create our neutrinos, or we can find the neutrinos? First is artificial way, that is by creating them from accelerators, reactors, or from nuclear bomb. So these are the artificial ways with which we can create the neutrinos. Other is the natural way. The natural way is quasar, supernova, or from sun. So suppose you have taken a metal surface. Now imagine that metal is 1 light year thick, exactly 1 light year thick. That's insanely crazy. But let's say we have a metal sheet which is 1 light, try to pass and 100 neutrinos out of it. What you will get that out of 100 photons, none of the photons will make to the other end of the metal sheet, which is 1 light year away. But out of 100 neutrinos, around 99 neutrinos will pass that metal sheet. It was not even there. So it is for that reason it is extremely difficult to detect neutrinos. And it is for that reason we have to take a large volume of the space. So the reason I'm talking about here the IceCube Neutrino Observatory, because it has insane amount of volume. And to give you the idea that how big the IceCube Neutrino Observatory is, so it is considered that in total 18 Eiffel Towers can be fitted, and the overall volume is 1 kilometer square. 1 kilometer square is actually a very tremendous amount of volume. This is the Eiffel Tower, and so many Eiffel Tower can fit. This is the total size. You can see that the depth is around 2,820 meters. That is almost 3 kilometers. So that is the depth of the Neutrino Observatory. So few moments ago we were talking about huge observatory, huge detector, but now we are talking about a very small neutrino detector. So it shows that how the science is progressing. So this is the sun. We can see with the help of photons, with the light. This is the sun, which we can see with the help of neutrinos. You can see that with the help of neutrinos, you can actually see the core of the sun, which is not possible for the photons. So the photons which you usually get from the sun are generally released from its surface. So you are able to see that only. And because of that, you cannot understand the entire core of the sun with the help of light only, with the help of photon only. On the other hand, neutrinos comes out of the core and they easily pass through the sun. Again, no obstacle for them. They are excellent efficient, and they are excellent penetrator. So they pass from the core of the sun and they reach to us. And for that reason, they can give the information about the core of the sun, which we can not get from the photon. So there's a idea of India-based neutrino astronomy, or India-based neutrino observatory, which was supposed to be built by now in Tamil Nadu, but for some reason, for some political reason and some superstitious reason, it is not. They are not allowing the scientists to build it there. The most of the fund of this India-based neutrino observatory is coming from CERN, and India is also contributing some of it. But again, there are some hindrances for that. Then we have many kinds of neutrino observatory in China. China is also upgrading its neutrino observatory, which is going to be the best neutrino observatory in the entire Earth. The IceCube Neutrino Observatory I just talked about is even further. So till now it was only covering 1 kilometer square, but they are planning to make 10 kilometers square. That is 10 times bigger than the last one. Just imagine how big it's going to be, more than a major city.
For neutrinos, the universe is 99.9999% empty. So what is that 0.0001%? What is that obstruction that it's
Nucleus.
facing?
Only answer is nucleus. All the nucleus of the atoms present in the entire universe, since they only interact with the nucleus.
The question is that can neutrinos pass through a black hole as gravity doesn't affect them?
The answer is that gravity does affect neutrinos, and that's why they cannot pass through black hole. As I in the initial phase of my talk only, neutrinos can interact with gravitational force and weak nuclear force. So gravitational force is included in that interaction, so it cannot pass through it.
Sir, I want to ask why light passes through some objects like glass but not through some objects like wood and wall?
Excellent question. Now, it's a very interesting question that why it happens that light is somehow able to pass through some object. So let's say visible region of light, it can pass through a glass but not a wall. On the other hand, many other spectrum of the light will all be able to pass through wall as well. Why it is the case? So the thing is, when it tries to pass through a glass, it interacts with the electric field of the electron which is there, or the electric field of the atom. And if that light is energetic enough to pass through the electric field which is there, to pass through the electric field there without being hindered by it, then that object is considered as transparent. So there are some objects which are translucent because during that time most of the light are not many of the photons are able to pass through it, but not all of the photons. So that object is translucent because the electric field in that object is not allowing all the photons to pass through it. Some object like glass or any clear polythene, they have an electric field which is not that energetic, so the electromagnetic wave can pass through it. But the electromagnetic wave which we in visible region is not energetic enough to pass through solid objects like wall or wood or those things, because they require more energy. So that is done by higher energetic scale of the electromagnetic wave. So I think this has answered your question.